Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Another quick game of Interplanetary I Spy going on here. Now, today we're looking at Sol 1077. So this is going back a while, not too far back. And this is the image you want. And there's also these anomalies appear in a adjacent image as well, just here, from the same set. So, and they may also appear in other sols. If I do find any more of these particular things, I will link them up below, as these will be. Okay. So, and also, if you, a lot of you may already have this, but if you haven't got it already, there's the free ArtAlienTV app, which will link you up to millions and millions of space images from Mars and the Moon and everything else, Pluto, you name it. Almost up to 300 downloads now, so it's totally free and it won't harm your device, so it's perfectly safe. So check that out if you want a free space app. I think it would probably take about 20 meg up on your mobile phone, not too much, but it would links to so much stuff. I really cannot get across how much it links to. It is absolutely the most powerful research app you can find. It does all the links that all the NASA apps do in one, plus a load more. So it really is very powerful. Right, let's get back to this. Now, this is the area we're looking at here in this image, or in this one, it's over to this side. You have a very strange rock here, which seems to have an arm and what looks like a statue head here. Okay, I'll show you them close up. I've done a few enhancements of these. I haven't gone too crazy with it. Here's the raw image. This is the one I'm working from for the statue, is this one, because there's more of it to see here. You can see him here. Now it looks kind of a bit like some of the surrounding rocks, but it would do. It could have been lying there for 1,000,000 years, could have been there 100 years, don't know how long. Covered in dust like everything else. Fine Martian dust that gives everything a sort of funny tint. And also, of course, these images have been filtered by JPL, so they're a bit grungy, very pixelated when you zoom in. But you can see, without doing anything to this one, that there's an ear, almost like a Spock-like ear there, and what looks like a beard, mouth here, a rather flat nose, like a broken nose, and two very thin eyes here, with large bags under the eyes. And the head sort of comes up to here, and there's some sort of texture here on the upper part, which I shall show you in a second. And the other thing, which I've clipped out here, is this rather strange rock here. Now, this may well just be a natural rock, but if you look at it carefully, you can actually see what looks like an arm here, with a joint there, and like another part of an arm, and possibly a wrist joint, like a wrist, and possibly a hand here, like the back of the hand here, and possibly some fingers up here. Now, could this be part of a statue? Could be. We have found lots of other statue parts in this part of Gale Crater. So it looks very stylized, this. It looks a bit different to some of the other things I've found. A bit hard to say. So obviously, really, to look at it properly, you have to enhance the image like you do with all these things, because they have been filtered, they've had the peak filter put over them, and they've had the information degraded by resizing, as I keep saying. So what I did, first of all, I did the statue guy. I just clipped it out, and I've rotated that and enlarged it, and increased the pixel density from 200 to 2000. And I've enlarged that, so I think, let's have a look at it in here. So I got them up here in my graphics processor. Now this has already been enhanced, the statue head. Now what I did is I rotated the image slightly to straighten it out, and I didn't blur it, funny enough. When I rotated it, it got rid of all the pixelation, which was great. Don't quite know how that happened actually. It must have been just the right amount. And what I've done is I've slowly gone around with the light and darken tool, and darkened some of the dark bits and lightened some of the lighter parts. And then I've played with the contrast of the image, and brightness to really try and bring out some of this detail. It looks a little bit cartoonish, but that's where I push the contrast around. When you start pushing contrast around, it can make the picture look almost posterized, like a posterized effect, where it starts to break up. So to get rid of that, you have to blur it slightly, and then sharpen it afterwards, and then maybe blur it a little bit more again, just a tiny bit. So there we go. I mean, it looks like he's got a very flat nose, a mouth and a chin, what looks like a beard, an ear, and some kind of hat or cap on, some kind of headdress. Not really sure. There seems to be some texture in there as well, but that just may be erosion. Don't know. Is it a statue? Could be. Could well be. It certainly looks like one. It looks quite alien, but I'm sure there are some down here. If I can find any similar ones down here to compare, I will put them in the video at the end. I'll put this in. I'll put all this in at the end of the video. And this thing here, I've only really just started working on this. I really can't make out exactly what this is, but it looks to be part of a statue, and the head may have broken off here, may have been attached up here near the top, and it may have fallen down to the side. Really don't know. This may be completely around the wrong way, or this may be just be a section of a statue, but it certainly looks like an arm coming up here with a wrist, and in fact it looks like there's even a wrist bone there, like the second wrist bone there, and a hand. So I just go in very gently, really gently with the light and darken tool. I'm just going to lighten the bits that are already light, like that. So you just pick out the lighter parts like this, and if there's any really dark bits, perhaps go in and darken them a bit more if they need it. You really have to be subtle with this and have see the hardness is on 0 and the step is on 20 on this thing. Opacity 50. So you gotta be really gentle with it and just do it a tiny bit at a time and not go too far, because you will get accused by skeptics out there of drawing stuff on these images if you're not careful. So I try not to go too far with this. I have been probably guilty of that in the 1 or 2 videos from a year or 2 ago, but those were reconstructions, and it does say that in the video description. So you've got to be subtle, really subtle, and take your time with it to try and pull out some of the shadows and highlights. There's a highlight there, for instance. Let's go back. Let's take that out. There's a little highlight just there, and there's one just there. And if you look closely at the image, you can start to see where the shadows and contours are of these rocks. See, I've already drawn a line along there, but one thing to remember is you've got to soften it afterwards. So you can see that quite hard line I've drawn in there, but that was already there. All I've done is drawn over a line that was already there. So, and you can see these dark patches in here. I'll just accentuate them slightly. Now this can go on for half an hour or even 4 or 5 hours sometimes, depending on how badly damaged the image is. But it's important not to go too far with these things, because people will say you're just drawing faces on stuff and stuff like that. You've got to be really gentle with it and just accentuate the image and try and restore it to what it would look like if we were getting the full size, full resolution, uncompressed images from NASA. So I won't do much more on that now. What I'll do is when I finish working on that, I'll put it in at the end of the video with all the other images. I'll show you the clip again, this one especially. There's the raw image. Now you can see, without doing anything to that, all I've done is enlarge it and rotate it, that there is an ear and what to look like 2 very narrow eyes and a broken nose and a mouth here and a beard. So it was already there. I haven't made this up. All I've done is I've really brightened it and increased the contrast in the image and restored it so that you guys on mobile devices out there can see it. Because I appreciate it's very difficult with a lot of these things to see the detail, especially on the smaller mobile phone. So there we go. Looks like another statue head, one of many. Now I didn't find this, so I think somebody on this Facebook page, I think, first posted it on Mars discoveries and solar system anomalies. Now, I'll find out who actually posted it and give them a credit, because I'm pretty sure about a week ago someone put it up, but it kind of got ignored. It may have been Coach Billy or someone else, I'm not sure, but I will have a link to them, their page or their channel, if and when I find out who it was that posted it. So there we go. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like I said, if you haven't got it already, get the free Android app, or you can have it on your iPhone if you want the HTML5 version, or you can even just have it on your desktop like I do. I just have it up here all the time, and I have a shortcut to it, and I just press that, and then the app just comes up. And this way you always have the most up-to-date version of it, and you've got all these things here to check out, and all these are apps in themselves. A lot of these links here, millions of images here. You've got everything, absolutely everything. So check that out if you haven't already got it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you soon. Okay guys, quick update. I decided to, after finishing working on this image here, let's just undo that. I've brightened it up a bit. I haven't gone too hard in there. I've brightened it up. I've added a bit of sharpness and contrast here and there, and it does look like a hand with a wrist, elbow, and shoulder here. So what I decided to do is to rotate it so it looks like it's standing up, and I got the statue head, which is lying just below it, and I've flipped it that way. Okay, now the shadows won't match, but it would probably fit the statue better if it was round that way, just to give you an idea of what it might look like if it was reconstructed. So basically I'll try and get it to fit, and I may do a cutout of this, but if you can imagine, this needs to be a bit smaller actually. You can imagine the head being cut out and stuck on there. In fact, this may be part of his shoulder also, this rock here. It kind of seems to fit rather well. So you've got shoulder, some kind of armor on the front here, or not really sure what that is on his chest, but the arm comes round and the hands meet at the belly, like the Moai statue do at Easter Island, incidentally, which is very interesting indeed. So basically I'll do a cutout of this and stick it in on the end as well, to show you what I think it may have looked like, a partial reconstruction of the statue. Okay, so I think it would sort of go about there, not quite that big. There we go. So I will do a clip of that and do it properly and stick it in the end. Thanks for watching. See you soon.